All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll give people a minute or two to join and then get started shortly. We do have a very exciting agenda today, so sit back and we'll be with you in a moment. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, How Automation Makes Us Unstoppable. A few housekeeping items before we get started. This webinar is being recorded, and we will share the recording and the slide deck with everyone who registered. All attendees are muted throughout the session, but please submit your questions using the Q&A section of the Zoom bar that you should see at the bottom of your screen, and we have reserved some time for questions at the end. But with that, well, let's get started. My name is Ólöf Kristjánsdóttir, and I'm a marketing director here at Tempo. I've been here for almost 5 years, and I am actually going to go ahead and share my camera. See everyone when we do these introductions. So I'm very, very pleased to introduce here today the very special Jira expert, Rachel Wright. Welcome, Rachel. Would you mind taking a minute to introduce yourself?
Hey there, hopefully my video kicked on, I can't tell, but hi everyone, I'm Rachel Wright. I'm a certified Jira administrator and author of the Jira Strategy Admin Workbook. And there's nothing I like to do more than talk about Jira. So I'm excited to be here today and get you inspired to add some automation to your application.
Thank you, Rachel. We're really glad to have you here today. But on this webinar, we also have Alexander Eck, one of our senior product experts on Tempo, and he will be on hand for any questions related to Tempo during the Q&A. Hi, Alexander, how are you?
Hello, Ólöf, and hello, Rachel. Thanks for introducing me and having me here on the call with you. So, yeah, I'm very excited to be here and listen to the talk from Rachel. So I am maybe the expert of Tempo as such. So there are no Tempo certificates yet, but they might come. Stay tuned. So, but I've been here with Tempo for quite a while, for almost 6 years. So I have quite a good experience of Tempo and its products. And I also have looked into this matter of how to automate processes with not only within Jira, but also make the life within Tempo easier. So that is a very hot topic, I would say so, especially when we go to cloud. And yeah, the Jira automation tool is pretty much awesome. So I'm very much excited to hear what Rachel has to tell us. Thank you.
Great, thank you both so much. And we're going to go ahead and turn off our cameras and so we can focus on the content here today. Just a quick look at the agenda. So Rachel will actually kick us off today and show you some of the automation opportunities that are available within Jira and go over some use cases as well as some features and apps that you can leverage. I will then tell you a little bit about Tempo and our own automation journey, and then we will leave some time at the end for Q&A. And with that, I will hand it over to the lovely Rachel Wright. Take it away. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and that should allow you to take over.
Excellent, thank you. There we go. I think we have PowerPoint running. Yes, excellent.
PowerPoint is running, yes.
Great. Well, again, hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here today. This is a fun topic, so just heard, but we'll start out a little bit with defining automation and then discussing some ways that it makes our life easier. And then, as you heard, I'll share some sample use cases and hopefully inspire you to add automation to your Jira application if you don't have it already. And then we'll discuss using built-in automation versus adding automation features with a marketplace app. And then finally, I'll share some resources to help you get started. We'll answer questions, and my friends at Tempo will share some ways to improve and automate time tracking in Jira. So as you heard, I'm Rachel Wright. I've been traveling the United States in an RV since 2015. So that's my house at the bottom, and that's where I am right now. And I use automation to make tasks easier in my work and my personal life. So let's talk a little bit about what is automation for an introduction. Now, automation means making a process or a system operate automatically. So you probably use automation every day without even thinking about it. So as you can see in the screenshot, last week, my truck told me that I need an oil change. My coffee maker starts brewing when I wake up. My lights turn on when it gets dark outside. And my bills are automatically paid every month from my checking account. So all those tasks used to be manual, but through the power of technology, they're automated. And I'm hoping one day we'll have robots to automatically clean the dishes after dinner too. We'll see. So automation means different things to different people. And I realize that we're all likely at different stages of our Jira journey. So if you're still using paper forms to request things at your organization, then even adopting Jira at all might be the first step in automating your processes. But then after you've used Jira for a little while, you start to explore the built-in time-saving features, things like component auto-assignment, workflow behaviors like triggers, conditions, validators, and post functions, and custom notification events. And then finally, there's the third level where you want to extend Jira past its standard capabilities using apps, integrations, or scripting. And I'll be mostly talking about the third level today, but I'd love to know where you are on your Jira journey. So we're going to launch a quick poll.
Yeah, poll should be live. Where are you in your Jira journey? Are you at level 1 organizing, or the organization has maybe just adopted Jira, or level 2 using Jira functions, more advanced, or are you ready to extend Jira with apps and integrations or other? And so we'll give people a few more seconds to vote, and we'll share the results. So please, if you haven't voted, take part in the poll. We really appreciate it. But I think that's about enough time, right, Rachel?
Sounds good.
All right. There we go. There's the results.
Yep, that's about what I expected to, which is excellent. So you'll work your way through at your own pace. There's no rush. But I think once you get to level 3, you'll be excited for all the things that you can do and all the ways you can make your Jira lives easier. So excellent. Thank you for that information. So I also wanted to talk about how Jira admins are super busy people, right? I've been a Jira admin since 2016, and I know that all the little things you have to do, that really adds up. So what can you do to eliminate some of those tasks as an admin so you can focus on projects that are more interesting and deliver more value? And you can use this technology to accomplish things faster. And that's really the role of automation in Jira. You can create rules to automate actions based on whatever criteria is important to you that you set. So here are some opportunities for automation. First, automation helps us complete work faster and just make it easier. So instead of sending an email when there's an outage, for example, let automation send the email, alert the team in their chat room, and communicate with the monitoring software. It'll do it all for you. We can use automation to reduce manual work and eliminate tasks that we do over and over. So for example, everyone uses this example: when all stories are complete, automatically close the epic, because humans forget to do that sometimes. Or maybe when it's time to do regression testing, automatically create all the test cases and maybe even kick off the tests. So we can use automation to connect our tools together as well. And then finally, software can help improve data quality and reduce human error. So one example I would like to share is you can use automation to sum technology request expenses and report them to the finance team each week. So one less thing a human has to do. So I really don't enjoy resetting user passwords. So think of a Jira task that you don't love or you frequently forget to do. Write it down while we're talking. There may be a way to automate it. The possibilities are really exciting and also endless. So the French military leader Napoleon Bonaparte, he famously said, if you want a thing done well, do it yourself. But that doesn't scale very well. So John McKiernan from Atlassian updated this quote at Team 2021 last week or the week before. And John said, if you want a thing done well, let automation do it. And I think that's really exciting. So let's discuss some ways to automate work in the different Jira deployment methods. So first, in cloud, Jira software has built-in automation, or you can use a variety of marketplace apps. And then Jira Service Management, which is formerly known as Jira Service Desk, also has built-in automation. Now, some capabilities are labeled legacy, and they'll one day be decommissioned. But don't worry, Atlassian will automatically migrate any legacy rules to the new rule format for you. And then in Server and Data Center, Jira software doesn't come with automation, but you can add it with an app. And Jira Service Management does have some built-in automation features. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the built-in automation in Jira Software Cloud. So there are multiple cloud plans. There's free, standard, premium, and enterprise. And there's no limit on the number of rules you can create, but there are limitations on rule scope and execution. So in the free and standard plans, rules are limited to a single project. So that means if you want to create the same rule multiple times, for multiple projects, you'll need to create it multiple times. And then an execution is how many times the rule runs per month, and the limits are shown. In the premium plan, the limit is per user and per month. So keep this in mind when you're building your automations, how many times they might execute. All right, here's the fun part, use cases and examples. Let's take an easy use case, closing old issues that nobody cares about anymore in Jira Software Cloud. So here's an example of the built-in no-code automation for Jira Software Cloud, and both project and application admins can create these rules. So do you have any old issues in your Jira application? I certainly do, too many to count. So let's let automation clean them up. We can schedule a JQL query to find them and automatically close them. And we can run this rule once or run it on a schedule. So first, to create a new rule, click the button on the right. And then the first step is to select a trigger. Now, triggers listens for events and start execution of the rule. So here's some ways you might want to use a trigger. A trigger can detect when a field or a status value changes, an issue is created, assigned, or closed, a link or comment is added, an SLA is breached, a build succeeds or fails, or a JQL query returns issues. So you can filter the trigger list using the drop-down menu or just search for a specific trigger by name. So in this example, I'm going to use the scheduled trigger. So next, select the desired settings. You can schedule the trigger on a fixed frequency or you can use a cron job. And at the bottom of the screenshot, I've entered a JQL query to find the relevant issues. Now, anytime I enter JQL, I click that validate query link to make sure the query is correct and it returns the expected number of issues. And once all the options are set as desired, click the form submission button to save the trigger. So after we've configured the trigger, now we can add actions or conditions. So actions are used to perform tasks like creating, assigning, editing issues, and then conditions are used to further refine rules. So a condition must be met for the rule to continue running. Let's start by adding an action to our example rule. I'm going to choose the transition issue action. Then I'll select the status to transition to and click the form submission button. All right, that was easy. Let's add one more action. I'm going to use the comment on issue action to add a comment to all the issues I'm closing. That's just kind of a best practice to tell users how and why issues were closed. And then once you're done with the message, click the form submission button. And the final step is to name the rule and enable it. So that's it. I made a really simple rule, but it's really easy to make it complex and powerful too. So in addition to all the triggers, conditions, and actions, you can also use variables called smart values to access and manipulate Jira issue data. So I think you'll find building automation rules both fun and useful. I certainly do. All right, let's go back to the automation page in the project admin area. So that rule we just created is now listed. And click on the rule's name to edit it and also find some additional settings. So here's what that page looks like. And on the left are the rule details. You can hover over any of the triggers, actions, and conditions to modify them. And you can also drag and drop them to change their order. And then on the right, you can edit additional details. So at the bottom of the page on the right, there are some useful settings I wanted to mention. You can set the rule to email the owner if the rule fails. You can change the owner, and you can also set the actor. So the actor is the user that this action is attributed to. I like to use the default, so the issue's history shows that an action was performed by the automation user and not by me personally. Otherwise, people come running to your desk asking, why did you close my issue? I always recommend running rules and scripts using a service account when you can. So application administrators can also see the list of all rules across all projects in the system admin area. And this view contains a really handy usage link so you can see how close you are to your execution limit. There's a great website where you can try out automations without impacting your live production Jira application. And it's called the Automation Playground. And it's a great way to get new ideas and see what your colleagues are building as well. All right, next, let's talk about marketplace apps. There are great apps available in the Atlassian marketplace. And some provide specific automations like creating new issues on transition or calculating fields. Others have rules for workflows, issue events, or scheduled events. Some apps provide point and click rules, some provide scripting capabilities, and some have both. So search for automation or workflow in the Atlassian marketplace to see all the great options. So the automation we just explored in cloud, that's powered by the Automation for Jira app in server and data center. So that's how to bring that functionality to your other deployment methods. But there are lots of great other automation apps out there too. I want to show you some examples using some of my favorites. So first, let's talk about conditional linking. Some organizations use Jira to track their strategic initiatives. So my example on the left, there's an epic to track the annual technology cost for the IT department. And on the right is a request for a new laptop. Now, users are supposed to link issues to their related initiative, but they often forget. And this skews reporting, especially for large asks. So let's use conditional validation to help the IT department better track their expensive hardware requests. And I'm going to do this with a post function. It's really easy if you use the Jira Miscellaneous Workflows extension app. I used the linked issues validator and a simple Jira expression to check for the desired link, desk number 5. Then I limited the validator to only requests above $100. And then I also added a custom error message to help the user meet the criteria I'm checking for. So the user can add the needed link directly from the transition overlay. And now the IT department can better report on requests impacting the annual technology budget. Here's another quick example. This is an automation that I built for one of my clients. So the company wanted to manage their onboarding process in Jira. And for each new hire, they created a Jira issue and selected components for each application or resource that the user needed. So in this example, the new hire needs a chair, a desk phone, and a license for Microsoft Excel. So for each component selected, a subtask was automatically created, assigned to the component lead, and the new hire's name was appended to the summary. And this was super easy to do using an app called Jira Workflow Toolbox. So I added a create issue post function to a workflow transition, and I used a little bit of code to create one subtask per component. So this small automation saved hours of manual work, coordination, and ensured the new hire had everything they needed on that first day when they started work. And one more example for calculated fields. So here's an example I built for myself. As I said earlier, I live on the road, and I wanted to be able to track my travel costs in Jira so I could estimate my mileage expenses. So in this example, I entered the number of travel miles, and Jira automatically calculated the mileage fee. So this is easy to do using the JSU Automation Suite for Jira Workflows app. I created a calculated field post function, added it to a workflow transition, and then used a very simple math formula. So you can see in the screenshot at the bottom, my formula is miles divided by 10 miles per gallon times $3 per gallon. And hopefully you get better gas mileage than my truck does. But the formula result is automatically added to the mileage fee custom number field. I'm terrible at math, so I'm really glad that Jira can do it for me. All right, I came up with some other ideas for you in case you need some additional inspiration. I thought of 25 ways you can use automation to make your life easier. So hopefully these will help you or give you an idea of what you can do in your own Jira application. So the first category is communication. And you can use an integration or a webhook to notify your team's chat room of certain Jira events. You can send a report of all issues you worked on this week. You can provide an on-screen message to users after a workflow transition. So this is a great way to remind a user to perform a task that they frequently forget to do. I love the ability to automatically create issues. So here's some examples of ways you can use that. When product features change, automatically create an issue for the legal team to revise the terms of service. Or when there's an outage, automatically notify customer service so they can be ready to address trouble reports. Or if a customer support request requires dev work, auto create the issue and assign it to the right team lead. You can also automatically add previous assignees as watchers, that's really helpful, or notify customers when their feedback or their bug is addressed. The next category, I've got some ideas for updating issue information. So you can automatically update issues based on all sorts of criteria. Here are some examples. You can assign issues based on custom field data, like say a certain skill that's needed or a specific office location. You can add high priority bugs to the next unreleased version, automatically set a due date based on a creation date, or update issues based on a JQL result. And you can automatically transition issues too. So for example, if a code review is rejected in Crucible, automatically transition the Jira issue back to the to-do status and notify the developer that there's a problem. Or if a code branch is created in Bitbucket, automatically transition the Jira issue to the to-do status from to-do status to the in progress status. Next, you can use preconditions to only update certain issues. So for example, only update issues with a specific priority level or a certain component selected. Now, here's one I love. I love to use automation to log additional details, especially for an approval process. So anytime an approval is given in my Jira instance, I add the user's name and the timestamp to custom fields, so I can easily see and report on that information. Another idea, you can automatically increment a number field each time a certain event occurs. So for example, count how many times an issue went into the on hold status, or was reopened, or was reassigned. All this data is helpful to help your team improve. All right, next category is for repeatable tasks. You can create issues on a specific or a recurring schedule. So I use this to automatically create all my scheduled maintenance tasks each quarter. And then when my list of tasks is ready to go, there's no chance that I'll miss a needed step. And if you sometimes forget to log your time at the end of the week, you could automatically create a subtask to remind you. All right, here are a few ideas for syncing information. If information changes in a parent task, you can automatically update the information example to find issues mentioned in other fields and automatically link them together. And if you have multiple Jira applications, you can sync data between them once an hour or once a day. And of course, you can also sync data with other tools. So for example, if case details are added in Salesforce, automatically provide that information in the related Jira issue. You can use automation to make maintenance tasks less manual too. So here's some of my ideas in this category. Automatically delete old attachments to free up space or for compliance reasons. Periodically look for changes in the list of users with application administrator access. I love that one. Somehow new administrators seem to be added all the time and I didn't add them. Who's doing that? So now I can test for it. Or close all requests not updated by the customer in say 7 days. And then finally, you can use automation to send alerts. So I love to use this for overdue tasks, SLA deadlines, or for managing missing information. So for example, alert an employee if their expense reimbursement issue is missing receipt attachments. You can send alerts for high priority bugs, incidents, or impactful issues. And finally, you can use automation to catch undesired behavior. So for example, detect the word password in an issue and make sure a user hasn't exposed their credentials. I see this all the time. Or catch users skipping the QA test step before work is deployed to production. No one would ever do that, right? All right, so hopefully now you have lots of ideas of things that you can automate. And at the beginning of the presentation, I asked you to think of a single Jira task that you just don't love to do or you frequently forget to do. So your homework is to find a way to automate that one task. You can use whatever method you want, whatever feature, integration, or marketplace app that you need to accomplish that task. And then figure out how much time, effort, and sanity was saved by addressing that one thing. And use that information to form a business case if your solution requires some funding or some money. Okay, now I have a few resources to share. These are the URLs previously shared and also some apps to try out from the Atlassian Marketplace. I'll give you a minute to snap a photo or take a screenshot.
Yes, and we'll make sure to send an email to all the registrants as well with these links and the slides. So if you missed that opportunity to grab a snapshot, rest assured we'll make sure that you have all these links.
Excellent, thanks. All right, now I'd love to hand it over to my friends at Tempo to share some ways to improve and automate time tracking in Jira.
Perfect, thank you so much, Rachel. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again. So maybe if you can do me a favor and let me know when you can see it.
Looks good.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Rachel. Lots of helpful advice there, and hopefully we can continue that on that road. So I wanted to first share a little bit about Tempo. Some of you here may be already using it. Some of you might not know it, but we are an add-on or an app in the Atlassian ecosystem, and we provide time tracking for services, for example, for Jira. But at Tempo, what we want to do is create best-in-class automated and integrated solutions that are designed to help you unlock the true benefits of tracking time. Nobody likes to track time, but once you do it, it's really, really beneficial. And customers can leverage our suite of applications to log time effortlessly, plan and manage resources in real time, and monitor all project finances more effectively, all within Jira. Now, the reports that are available in each of our products also provide you with data and a level of granularity that you need to make informed decisions, and you can make them faster even. But here's a sample of some of the more than 20,000 customers who currently benefit from using Tempo's suite of applications. And we have customers who range from small consulting agencies to actually dozens of the world's most prestigious brands. And as more and more companies rely on software solutions and software development as a key factor in their strategy and their ongoing success, we can see that companies like Disney and BMW, these organizations all have software and development teams in their midst. It is becoming increasingly important for all types of organizations to track time that they spend on a variety of different projects and initiatives and across teams. And whether you're big or small, you don't need me to tell you that tracking time accurately in real time is essential to make sure that you're spending your time wisely. Now, the Tempo product strategy is based around 3 core pillars designed to give our customers the best-in-class options for tracking, monitoring, and reporting on activities, wherever that time is spent. And we're also working to generalize and modernize the Tempo core platform to support automated activity tracking in a variety of environments, for example, IntelliJ, VS Code, and Bitbucket. And we're focusing on these advanced automation features and intuitive suggestions for time tracking data to customers to ensure that the tracking activities are both effortless and free from manual intervention. Sounds a little bit like magic, right? Like some of the Jira automation stuff that Rachel just covered. It's all about making your life easier. And we know that customers are looking for less manual interactions with fewer program switches, fewer keystrokes, and for more of the repetitive information or activities to be fully automated. You don't want your developer to have to stop what they're doing to log their time or to update a Jira issue ticket. And we can see this desire for auto-population in a variety of industries, teams, and organizations. But perhaps what is more important with automation is what it should not touch, especially with time tracking. Concerns around invasion of privacy or overt employee time tracking, where the sole purpose is to determine if you're spending too much time at the water cooler. These are obviously not areas that are considered either valuable or desirable. Like time tracking should absolutely not be about monitoring your browser activity. It should not be about taking screenshots or, God forbid, a webcam photo of the user activity. And having the default access to timesheets public with no access controls, definitely not what we would recommend. And biometric recognitions, you should stay far away from that. What automated time tracking should be is direct, seamless platform integration, cross-platform targeted triggers with prompts, for example, from GitHub or something, and the ability to auto-populate fields and some basic automated warnings and reminders. All in all, time tracking can provide very, very valuable data for teams and organizations. And what Tempo is committed to doing is providing an automated way to easily provide that information so employees can focus their time and energy on what matters, but in a non-creepy way. We don't want to be too creepy with our time tracking. And with that, we are actually going to open the floor for questions, and we'll bring on Alexander and Rachel for that. So let's see if we have any questions. If people have questions and want to share them with us, use the Q&A part of the Zoom bar that you should see at the bottom of your screen, and we'll take as many questions as we have time for. So I'll go ahead and share my screen as well, and we'll take a look at the questions. All right, maybe we'll start with you, Rachel. Hold on. Let me just go here. All right. This question is frequent, and you probably see it many times. Does this work only with Jira Cloud instances, or can we automate with Jira Server? So I guess if you can cover what you can on Jira Server, that's what this person is looking for.
Sure, that's a great question. So Atlassian bought a marketplace app called Automation for Jira, and that's what they have integrated into Jira Cloud. They've made it a built-in feature, but you can add Automation for Jira to Jira Server and Jira Data Center from the marketplace and get the same functionality. And of course, there's other great apps in the Atlassian marketplace too that provide ways to automate.
Perfect. Great. Here's the question for you, Alexander, maybe. Are there any Jira automation scripts for Tempo? We'll see him bring him online. I could see him unmute and then mute again.
Okay, I was not sure if I was muted or unmuted, but yes, there are a couple of scripts available for Tempo. So I think you have maybe the link that you can share, and or maybe Rachel or Ólöf, you can share the link and refer to our knowledge base article. So at least we always try to put into some kind of scripts or we try to solve some kind of the use cases from our customers and put them into our knowledge base articles. So I think Ólöf, you are presenting, right?
Yes.
Yes. So here there's the repository is very small, maybe to start with, but there are at least a couple. So these scripts that we created there, or these recipes that we created there, were based on some user request. So whatever or whenever you have a specific use case that you think can be solved with Tempo, or that can be solved for Tempo, let us know, and we always strive to help you to set this up. And once we have done that, we always trying to document everything that we have done. So that is the outcome that Ólöf is presenting now. Maybe one thing in regards to that maybe Rachel did not come into, which I found very exciting about Jira Automation, is the ability to work with requests or API requests. So you can really do all kind of API calls to wherever you would like to, and work with responses as such. So that is of course very much helpful when we talk about Tempo, because we all know that Tempo is of course maybe not that integrated into Jira like Jira is, and therefore there might be a lot of possibilities that are outside Jira that you need to leverage. So therefore the ability to work with webhooks or to do web requests is very, very powerful in my point of view. So hope that answers the question.
It's definitely one of the beauties of Jira is how much you can actually customize it, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's see what more we have here. All right, here's a question. While you can create variables and initialize them, there's currently no way to reference that variable in other steps to update them. Because this is referring to Jira. Rachel, do you want to comment on that one? Was the question clear enough?
Actually, I thought that might be a Tempo question. Can the asker clarify what area they're talking about?
Yes, we'll give that person a chance to clarify that, and then we'll move on to the next one in the meantime. So here's another one. I currently use the bulk edit function to close down all issue types at the end of a project. We have different workflows for different issue types. Will the automation rule deal with the fact that there will be different workflows in a project when setting a rule to close? As the bulk edit function does not, you have to do it multiple times if you have different workflows in play.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking about that myself too, because I also used the bulk edit tool because we had no other way to, manage large amounts of issues. So the benefit of automation is you don't have to do it 1,000 times, right? As long as your workflows are similar. So for example, if one workflow uses, the close status as the final status and one uses the done status as the final status, you'll have to account for that. But either way, you won't have to run it over and over and over and run it manually. So I think automation is a welcome new way for us to do things in bulk as well and not have to use the bulk tool.
Exactly. Yep. Alexander, here's a Tempo related question. Is there a way to trigger and automate Tempo time entries when an issue changes states?
Yes, that is of course a very good question and a very valuable question, I think so, and a very valid use case. And this is one use case that I also documented in one of our scripts that we have just seen from the knowledge base article space in our documentation area. I mean, this script that I created back in the time is, I'm not sure how old it is already, but as we also have seen today, there, especially for Jira for Automation, it is, and probably Rachel can double that. It is so much so each time that I look into automation for Jira, there's always a change and new things that you can do. And one thing that you need to, especially when it comes to tracking time, what you need to be aware of is the ability to run a service or run an action as a certain user. So you might of course run into trouble when you lock time or when you call a request on behalf of a user, because everything in Tempo is of course restricted to user permissions. So that is very important that you have that in mind, that you run these actions on behalf of user that also has the ability to lock or to track time. Just to mention that. And as we have seen from the presentation from Rachel, there's this option that I haven't seen before, but it is very nice to really to specify that at least today, that we have that option. So of course, always when you do an automated time tracking, you always need to assign it to a specific user. You can't just track time. You always need to have a user behind that. And that might be, of course, some assignee, for example, or it might be some other users that you need to catch. And yeah, make sure to have that probably adjusted and make sure that these user have also permission to track time in Tempo.
All right, perfect. Here's a question I can answer. Would I have access to this recording to play back later? The answer is yes. This is being recorded and we will send a link to everyone who registered. So if you've missed anything, you can go back to the recording. We'll send that out later today. All right, here's a Jira question for you, Rachel. What is a good way to automate the CAPTCHA clearing of accounts in Jira?
That's an excellent question that I don't have an answer to.
I guess we can come back to that one.
Well, so wait, the flag, if it's a server or a data center instance, the flag is in the database, so you would have access to it. If it's in cloud, I have literally no idea. Yeah, let me think about that more. And that's a great question. I don't know the answer, but let me think about it more.
All right, perfect. And Alexander, let me know if you understand this question. What is the difference between Tempo and RPA?
Yeah, that's also a question that I do not really understand. So maybe you can specify a little bit more what you mean by RPA. That's something that I do not really understand.
Yep.
Maybe do you, or because I'm not no, okay.
Me neither.
Yeah, please pay, because we really would like to understand your question.
Yep. All right, and I think we have clarification for the one that we asked before. Let me see. So, while you can create variables and initialize them, there's currently no way to reference that variable in other steps to update them. And we have more information about that question. So in Automation Tempo, it's a known issue where you can create variables, but you can't reference the variables anywhere else in the automation. Without being able to update the variables, there's no point in creating them. They're just wondering if the next release or update might address this. Whether you have any details on that.
So I think that's a great question for the vendor. And in this case, the vendor is now Atlassian because they bought the marketplace app. But I will say that, just like we said a minute ago, the app grows and changes and improves. Every time I log in, there's a new feature. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're working on adding more capabilities. One thing I noticed with Atlassian is they put some features in and it's not necessarily like the full solution. They're still working on it, but they put things in as they go so we can get kind of a taste of what things might be. And that might be one example where you can create those variables, but you can't really leverage them so much yet. But in the future, they might be some more interesting things you can do. But sorry, the short answer is let's ask the vendor.
Yes. All right. Is there any way to specify which work attributes are shown in specific projects or for specific accounts?
That's a very common question, and I would wish that I could have a positive answer for that, but it's actually not possible. So there have been a lot of requests about that, but no, it's not possible. Sorry.
All right, here's a roadmap question for us, Alexander. Is there anything on the roadmap for Tempo to set triggers for when an account budget is about to breach for a client?
Yeah, that I also read that question, and I think it is a very good use case that I really would like to do with some kind of automation for Jira task, and I think we can achieve that. I don't think that we need to have something really specific functionality within Jira, within Tempo in order to do that. I'm pretty much sure we can achieve something like this with automation for Jira. So not everything that you would like to see and that you need to do within Tempo or Jira needs to be out of the box by Tempo, but I'm pretty much sure that we can do something with automation for Jira in order to do that. I really would like to. I cannot give you an answer for that now, but I really and it really helps me also to get some more ideas what we could achieve with automation for Jira. So for sure, I would really like to work on this use case within the next few days or weeks in order to and publish something on our site as well.
All right, super. And here's an attendee that's actually using Tempo via Slack and tracking time that way. And they have a question. They can't see who actually tracked the time. Is it still not possible? We are working on another version of the Slack integration. So stay tuned for updates on that one. We do try to send that out to all our customers to let them know when it is out. So stay tuned for that. All right. Alexander, do you want to tackle this one? Hello, could you please comment why there is no cloud version for Tempo budgets?
Oh, there's no cloud version for Tempo budgets because we have introduced a Tempo cost tracker for Tempo timesheets. So if you're not aware of cost tracker, that is something that is our tool going forward, and we really strive to implement all Tempo budgets features into cost tracker. We are of course not there already, but I really hope that we are getting there. And if you see what has been established, what has been achieved since the launch of cost tracker in January last year, it is really amazing what we have done here. And it is a really, really great tool that we have on cloud. And if you have not looked into that, it's for sure worth a look and look into it. There are a lot of exciting features upcoming, so it will really ramp up very quickly towards Tempo budgets with a much more easier to use user interface, and capability is also ramping up very quickly. So take a look, reach out to support or sales if you want to have a more detailed demo on that.
Perfect.
I also
Rachel.
maybe want to answer one question that I see in regards to Tempo Planner and planning here. So that is also one use case that I have within my library or within this still short list of library in regards to automating the ability to create plans for Tempo Planner. So look at that, and I think it might also answer your question.
Okay, perfect. Rachel, here's a question for you. Can we automate a Kanban board workflow?
Sure, any workflow. Doesn't matter what kind, how many steps. Absolutely.
My guess is that's what they wanted to hear. All right. We actually got a few people helping us out with what RPA is, which is awesome. It's robotic process automation. So we'll look into that and see if we can come up with an answer for that one. All right. How to display automation logs in issue. Okay, Rachel, I think this one is for you too. How to display automation logs in issue comment, mainly for errors raised while executing automation rule.
I don't know if that data is exposed or if it's exposed yet. I don't know, but one thing you can do when there are errors is you can set who will get an email to learn that there's been an error. Another way to detect errors is on the list of rules page. You'll see a little, right now it's a little red icon next to the rule to indicate that there's a problem. And there's a third place. Well, there's the error log itself, which will tell you exactly what went wrong. I don't know that you can actually post that into a comment and expose that publicly yet.
All right. And let me see which one of you wants to take this one. What are the software prerequisites to log automated work on a Jira transition? We currently have Jira Cloud, Standard, and Tempo.
Yeah, that's basically doable. I don't think there's anything that they need to do, right, Rachel? So if I recall correctly, it is by default enabled, right? And you should be able to do that. So unless you correct me, Rachel.
Yeah, so it's possible that your Jira administrator has turned off the ability to log work system-wide, application-wide. So check that. Also, every project will have a permission scheme, and the user needs to have the permission to log time. But I mean, other than that, there's nothing.
All right. I think we even have, this is a great audience. I really like it. We have a person that helped us out to answer a question about the difference between Tempo and RPA. RPA is a robotic process automation, and Tempo is a plugin. There you go. Perfect. Teamwork.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, that's for sure something that I need to look into. I'm very interested into that. I never heard about that, so but it seems very common and a common knowledge about that. So a lot of people have commented on that. That's good.
Yeah. All right, one more question about automation here from the audience. Our team have base Jira license. We created 10 rules and turned it on. After 1 to 2 weeks, we received information that our limit for automation processes finished. It is strange. Now I think that for using automation, users need to have premium Jira version. Am I right?
Okay, so there are two questions kind of around capabilities in Jira Cloud. So let's start at the beginning. All flavors of Jira, free, standard, premium, enterprise, all have this built-in automation ability, but what differs is the scope and how many executions you get. So obviously with the free version, you get a smaller scope and a smaller amount of executions. So that's kind of the answer to the first question. And the second question is, if you hit your automation execution, you either need to upgrade Jira to get more executions, use an app from the marketplace that doesn't limit your executions, or potentially maybe you can write your rule a little differently so it doesn't have as big a scope of, in the rule itself.
Yeah, that's good advice. Good best practice, I guess, as well. All right, there's a question here as well asking whether there are other plugins like Tempo. The variety on the Atlassian marketplace for apps and extensions is amazing. So I do encourage everyone to take a look there. Like, you can really customize and build. Tempo integrates with some other apps as well to really help you automate and plan and organize and report. So I do encourage everyone to take a look there and see if there's any additional apps there that might help you out. All right, let me just see if we have covered everything. I think this is an extension on a previous question. Let me see.
I also want to jump into one question here. That is it possible to migrate data from a timesheet tool to Tempo? So yes, of course, you can do that. So just want to mention here that Tempo has a wide range of APIs available. So that is also something that you can look into from our documentation, tempo.io/developers. They get a wide range of APIs available that you can leverage for migration to Tempo. So look at that. And if you have any questions related to migration from other tools to Tempo, we are always here to assist. So reach out to support. Well, our workflow supporters always strive to help you in this matter.
Yes, absolutely. Rachel, there is a bit more background here for the CAPTCHA question. It's a server data center instance with single sign-on for user access. Service accounts occasionally get locked and looking for authorized users to submit a request to have the account CAPTCHA cleared.
And I remember doing this, and it was a pain to do. It was a long time ago that I had to do it, but I do remember it. So I was thinking maybe you can use a creative solution. And two creative things I thought of, obviously this built-in automation tool isn't going to help you with user tasks, right? You'll have to use something else, but maybe writing a script to check for that condition and clearing it. And the other thing, and this is kind of a weird idea, but I once used a tool that clicked buttons for you to write like a browser side script. So for example, I would tell the tool to go click the create button and then fill in these fields. I'm wondering if you can use a similar tool like this to tell it to log in and go click that link to clear the CAPTCHA. I used a tool called Katalon, Katalon, and it was a free tool, free for commercial use. It has a Jira integration. And basically, I used it to go run all of my quarterly maintenance tasks. So go do all the clicking in Jira for me. So maybe look into something like that. I think you'll need a creative solution. There's no like easy solution, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right.
There's another question that I would like to answer. Sorry to interrupt you, Ólöf. We have a question: can costs be fixed by resources in Tempo permanently and not just by project? So I think and guess you are referring to Cost Tracker, because that is a feature that we have within Cost Tracker, the financial tool on cloud that I've been talking about earlier, or a couple of minutes ago. So I'm also very glad to tell you that this feature is going to be deployed on cloud very soon. So we already have that in beta version, and it has been developed and deployed, and it is now in review and testing, and will be hopefully out there for all other Tempo users within the next few weeks.
Awesome. So again, the Atlassian community shows its strength. We have a member of the audience who has recommended Microsoft Power Automate Desktop as a free tool that may be able to handle the browser side clicks. Look at that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's take one more question, and then we will have to close the session. We're nearing the top of the hour. All right, Rachel, I think this one is for you, or maybe Alexander, you will have to jump in. Is there any workaround or app to sync Jira task time tracking date into Tempo so one does not need to administer Tempo Planner additionally? Is this the question that you already answered, Alexander?
I'm not sure which exactly question you're referring to, because there are so many.
There's a few of them. Yeah, So one does not need to administer Tempo Planner additionally to Jira tasks itself to have a calendar overview and log on it all in one place with one click.
Yes. So I would, like I said, I would really like for you to look into one of the scripts that is referring to Tempo Planner, how you can automate the planning process based on settings or on values that you set on the Jira issue itself. So that is very much doable. But if that is not enough, or you would like to have a little bit more information here, or want to achieve some extra features that is not inside the automation script, then I would really like for you to reach out, and because, like I said, I'm really always striving to make this library bigger each time, and therefore the more use cases I get, the more inspiration I have to publish something in this direction. So please reach out, and we are really willing to help. And I really hope that this is that the library is growing bigger within the next weeks and days.
Yeah. So Rachel, final question for you as well. Automation and Jira Service Management. How can I notify all organization members using automation?
So I think that depends on what is the definition of notify. Are you trying to send an email? Are you trying to generate a Jira message? What are you trying to accomplish? But I did notice that you said organization members. I don't know if Atlassian's tool yet can identify users in an organization within the automation tool. So that might be something to look into their roadmap to see if they've built that yet. Probably something that they'll expose at one time.
Yeah, and they did confirm they're looking for an email notification.
So I've done it in a marketplace app. I have not done it in Atlassian's built-in automation. But again, I don't know how you're able to reach in and get the list of people in an organization. So that has to be available. You know, the apps rely on API access, for example, and as long as that data point's available, they can leverage it. I don't know if it's available yet. Might be.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, it's almost the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Rachel and Alexander, for being here. It was a pleasure to work with you. Really helpful insights, Rachel. And I hope everyone in the audience did learn something. Thank you, everyone, for attending. It's been great having you here, and great to see everyone is ready to share and help each other out. Look out for an email follow-up. We'll include all the links and the recording and the slide deck so you can continue to dig in and enjoy. But with that, I say thank you. Any final words, Rachel, before we close the session?
Nope. I hope everybody has fun with automation. Take care.
Yes, have fun. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you.